Kind of a play on words. It used to be coffee talk. It used to be Sean talk. This is just random thoughts going through my brain. I think I was going to call it beer talk at one point. Basically, it's just me sharing what's going on up here. Okay, I promise to not ramble. We'll get right to the point. Coping mechanisms. Coping mechanisms. Nurses need to have them. I feel this is the reason that people either quit, fail, or get burned out in our profession. We missed the boat. We, as in a profession, missed the boat by educating our younger nurses on the importance of coping mechanisms. I've kind of talked about it before. For those of you that have listened to my emotional bank diatribe, emotional bank or emotional health, finding balance between the bad and the good. Coping mechanisms is how you deal with the bad. It's how you handle the hard. There's an absolute reason why we always say that not everybody can do this job. Not everybody can be a nurse. And it's not because you're not smart enough, you don't work hard enough. It's your capacity for the bounce back. How well is your bounce back? I always think about the old Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer cartoon with the Bumble and Bumble's bounce. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, you can Google that stuff, okay? The bounce back. How well do you bounce back from a devastating moment in time during your job? And okay, I take that back. It doesn't have to be devastating. It could be, now let's just stick with the devastating ones. The ones that rock you to your knees. The most devastating is death. And some of the more emotionally disturbing instances are when our patients are robbed. When they're robbed of their health, when there's an accident, when there's something that is life-altering and life-changing that happens to our patients. We're there through it all. And we have to be the emotional stability during that acute phase or during the chronic and long-term phase. We have to be all things to everybody in our job, but we somehow have to figure out how to be all things to ourselves. So you got to have coping mechanisms. You got to have healthy coping mechanisms. Let's prepend that with healthy. That would be, exercise, talking it out, taking a vacation day, doing something that enhances your joy. Unhealthy coping mechanisms would be, illicit drug use, alcohol abuse, self-harm in some way. I kind of, and I don't know why it took me this long, but I connected the dots this week. I've talked about it before, and I'm a big fan of the dark humor that we nurses utilize and have fun with all the time. And the dark humor are the things that we nurses find side-splitting hilarious, but others will find a little off-color and might be offensive. Yeah, we nurses we've laughed over dead bodies because that's how we deal. Some of the things that I find hilarious in my job, others would find offensive and, startling. It's a reflexive coping mechanism that we all develop, whether we do it on purpose or not. And maybe you don't participate in a dark humor, but you have to develop a coping mechanism that gets you through the dark times. Dark times. We nurses have to take care of someone who's dying and someone coding, and then 5 minutes later you got to walk into your next patient's room with a painted smile on your face to give them their morning medications or to give them another glass of water. Then you're going to have to walk down to your next patient and have a discussion with your family members about diabetes education. You have to do all three of those things without losing enthusiasm and showing emotion. Then you'll have to step away and you'll have to answer and talk to an angry colleague on the phone. You're going to have to deal with a overbearing provider. Oh, and on your way back, there's a family member that's extremely upset and is screaming and yelling at you because of something that you had no control over. Coping mechanism. You got to figure out how you're going to handle all that. And ignoring it is not the answer. One of the things that I'm very proud of that we have all adopted is the debrief. It's a concept that was developed, if I'm not mistaken, from the airline industry. Short version is, after an incident, let's say you have a patient death. We're going to go to the extreme here. You have a patient death. Shortly after that episode, you and whoever was part of that moment has a conversation about what went right, what went wrong, and is everybody okay. It doesn't have to be anything formal. It can be informal. Could be in the hallway. Could be, in the med room. It doesn't matter. But you got to take 5 minutes, process it, and talk it out. It is an absolutely wonderful way of unburdening yourself of the wave of emotions you're going to have immediately and hours and days later from this event. And if you don't have the debrief at work, you got to do the debrief with someone else at home. Another colleague. You're going to have to call somebody. You got to talk to somebody. Because you're going to have to learn how to bounce back. Ergo, my term, the bounce back. You're going to have to bounce back. I want you to develop a good bounce back. And if you don't have one, contact me. Let's talk. Contact someone you trust. Talk to them. Figure out what your bounce back is. You have to keep in mind that if you have healthy coping mechanisms, others may not. You're lucky, and you need to pass on your knowledge to someone that can use your help. Many of us out there, many of our colleagues out there that don't have healthy coping mechanisms, and it's our job, it's our duty to help each other out. What's the tribe have to say? What are your healthy coping mechanisms? Leave me your message, and I'll share them.